Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to learn part 2 of the epic story The Fall of Troy. Before beginning, I kindly request everyone to please subscribe to my channel. It will genuinely mean a world to me and it will boost my morale to create new videos. Without further ado, let's begin. The Fall of Troy. In the part 1, we have seen the war was going on. Both the sides were tired and they wanted to go back to their respective life, but they couldn't. The last Troy was taken, not by the force, but by the trick. It was cunning Odysseus who thought of a plan to obtain the victory. Let us build a great wooden horse, he said, big enough to hold men inside it, and let some of our best fighters hide in the horse. Then let us burn our tent and pretend to sail away in our ship. But instead of sailing away, we will return in the night. When the Trojans are asleep, we will attack the city and burn and kill. What happened is, in the last, the Troy was taken away. The Troy was destroyed. It was all because of Odysseus' cunning, smart thoughts. He decided to build a horse, and he decided all the best men, the best army men will go inside the horse, and rest all will sail away. They will pretend as if they are sailing away. This all discussion was going on with the top leaders, top Greek leaders. This was the horse which the Greek architect built. The Greek leader decided to follow the advice of the wise Odysseus. So the great horse of wood was made by the skillful engineers and the greatest hero, Menelaus. Odysseus himself and the other entered it. The last one man to go is being the architect himself, who knew the secret of opening and shutting the entrance. The evening the Greeks burned their tent and sailed away in their ship, but they did not go very far. Only one man was left behind to pursue. Pursue, it means someone, you induce someone to do something. The Trojan to drag the horse into their city. The main aim behind building this horse was they were not able to get into the gates, into the temples of the Trojan. So they decided to do a drama where they will show the Trojan that they have left. Some half of their army will sail away, and they will not sail away far away. They will go somewhere deep in the sea and stay until they get a signal to come back. And some of the smart and brave ones will go inside the horse. When the Trojans will come out to fight in the morning, they will see no one is there, and then this will make them feel okay. Now the Greeks have ran away, they got afraid, and they will see this huge horse. They will be impressed with the work and they will drag the horse inside, but the horse cannot go inside because it is so huge. So what they will do, they will break the walls, so they will make the holes in the walls, and this will be the bad or a bad decision of the Trojan. Now let's see further. Next day, the Trojan woke up expecting to go out and fight as they had done for the past 10 years. What delight and surprise they felt at the sight they saw on the seashore outside the wall. It seemed that the long siege was over at last. The tent has been burned, the shore was deserted, the Greek ship had all gone. It's peace at last, they cried, open wide their gate. As they came, they saw the sea. It was all empty, no one was there, everyone sailed away. So, this is a picture where you can see the Trojans are trying to drag the horse inside. They all were so happy that at last it's peace. At last the war has came to an end. They opened their gate. They all came out in huge number on the sea, and they were surprised to see the big horse, the wooden horse. They gathered around it. It is an astonish, for it was indeed a wonderful piece of the work. As they were wondering how the horse has been built and why it has been left behind, they found a Greek with his hand tied together, lying under it. When the Trojan dragged him out, the man pretended to be very frightened of them. When he was commanded to let them why the Greek had gone and why they had left his horse behind, he pretended to tremble very much and refused to speak. When at last they threatened to kill him, he spoke and told them this false tale. Tale is story. Now, what happened? All people came, they saw the horse on the seashore. They were very happy. It's now last after 10 years, the end of the war. They saw this wooden horse. They were very astonished, very surprised. Then they saw there was a Greek man tied to the leg of the horse, and they went and started inquiring, where are the all Greeks, and what is this horse standing here, and why they have tied you? And so many questions were asked, but he did not answer. Then they threatened to kill him, and this Greek soldier, he just acted as he is very much afraid, and then he told a false story. The Greeks are tired of the long war and have sailed away in their ship, he said, but they are afraid of the long voyage home too, and so they have made this horse and left it as an offering to the god of the sea. They wanted also to kill me and offer me as a sacrifice to the sea god, but I escaped and hid them here. Then he told this story. He told that they were all very tired. The Greeks were tired and they wanted to go back home. And they were also afraid of the voyage, the long sea voyage. So they offered this horse to God and they wanted to sacrifice me, but somehow I escaped and somehow I hid myself. But why did the Greek make such a huge horse? Some of the Trojan asked, and the cunning Greek made it this reply. They had made a smaller offering. You might have taken it into your city. Then the luck would have gone to the Trojan and not to the Greeks. That is why they made it too big to go inside your gates. The Greek soldier, was very cunning, as when the people asked him, the Trojan asked, why did they make such a huge horse? They could have made a small one. Then the Greek said, if they made a small offering, you would have taken that offering inside your gates, and the blessings will go to you. That is why they have made a huge horse, so that it will not go inside your gate. The Trojans were delighted to hear this. The Greeks have gone, they said, and the walls are no longer necessary. Let us make a hole in the wall and drag the horse in. So now here comes the picture of the priest. So now they all have decided to drag the horse and take him inside. But the priest comes in. Their wise priest warned them not to do so. It may be a trick that will ruin us. He said, you will bring disaster on the city if you break down the wall. But they were so excited they paid no attention to the word. They broke down part of their strong wall in order to drag the horse in. So they did not listen to the priest. The priest warned them not to do so. It will bring a disaster. Maybe it is a trick, it is a plan of the Greeks, but nobody gave any ears to the priest. They all were so excited. They broke the wall and they started dragging the horse inside the gate. As we know, nobody gave any importance to the words of the priest. All the gates were open and the horse was dragged inside. But the Greek ships were not sailed far. They were hidden by an island. They had lowered their sail and dropped an anchor and waited for the night, the darkness. The fleet sailed back, and the leading ship, which was Agamemnon, bore a red light height on its mast. The Greek, who was watching for a return of the feet script of the wooden horse, gave a signal. The sight of the horse opened, and the Greek climbed out of the open gate. The whole Greek army entered the sleeping city. Immediately, the Greeks set on fire the house, towns, palace, and began to burn and kill. What happened now? The ship was not very far away, it was hidden somewhere, and the horse was dragged inside. As it was dark, everybody came out of that horse and started climbing the walls, climbing every place in the palace, the houses, and started burning. Then the ship came. All the army got inside the palace, and everything was burned, killed. People started dying, screaming as people was happily sleeping. Troy was filled with sight of leaping flames and the sound of shouting and the noise of weapons and the cries of weeping women. Sleeping Trojans sprang out their beds, but they were taken by the surprise. The enemies were right inside their walls, and many of the Trojans were killed before they could put on their arms and seized their weapons. The bright light lit up the night sky as palace and horse and temples and towns went up in the were flames. The Trojans fought as well as they could, but it was all in vain. Old King Priam was killed with all his brave sons. Hector's wives and old mother and sisters were carried off as slaves by the conqueror. Their fate was in contact to Helen's when King Menelaus rushed through the city looking for her and found her in the palace. She hung her head in shame and sorrow as she faced her former husband. Her voice was choked with the emotion. She could not speak, but Menelaus forgave her and she went back with him, for it was only Aphrodite who had returned her heart away from her home and her husband and her child. When morning came, nothing was left of the proud, rich city that had resisted attack for 10 years. Now everything was burning, everyone was fighting, and the Trojans had no chance to defeat themselves. Everything, all children were screaming, shouting. Things were going so wrong, and slowly, Trojan was dying. At last, Hector reached towards his wife, who eloped with the prince of Trojan, and she hung her head down. She was so sad, she was ashamed, but he forgave her and he took her back to his palace, to his children's, the big city, the proud city which lived so many years, which protected its enemies for last 10 years, came to an end. This is the end of the story. This is the end of the epic story, The Fall of Troy.